with you, it's a brand new day. Do you need me, girl? I'll try to be there. Expect you, have fun day. Baby, can't be friends, you know I'm on my footy. I'm on my footy. I'm in love. Look at me now, do you see this, darling? You got me really turned up. Teaching my feelings, darling. Yeah. Baby, I only see your pretty face, yeah. You put my mind in a mess, yeah. Can somebody hit my body? This can't be true, I'm in love with you, darling. You could be, darling. You know my love is so real. But I believe I won't let you down. I'll never let you down. Hello, my love. I know you know. Kongo kuna chula. Since ukona mivuga, isu imiza, kumananje. Gaho baby, baby, we babalantari. Oh no, since ukona mivuga, isu imiza, kumananje. I don't know what you believe, but let me tell you something. You are the reason I breathe. Please go man and oh na na right now. Maybe when gone got cold, been a fight the gun. I'll be ready near your eyes and Hamas and Hezbollah. Yeah, don't you see I got the key here for your peace, baby. Who's the get out we knew that. Hey, baby, I wanna see your pretty face, yeah. You put my mind in a mess, yeah. Can somebody hit my body? This can't be true, I'm in love with you, darling. You could be, darling. You know my love is so real. But I believe I won't let you down. I'll never let you down. Hello, my love. I know you know. Kongo kuna chula. Since ukona mivuga, isu imiza, kumananje. Gaho baby, baby, we babalantari. Oh no, since ukona mivuga, isu imiza, kumananje. I'm Leo. Since ukona mivuga, isu imiza, kumananje.
I lead one.
It's not easy kubona umuntu kumva nkuko wiyumva. So challenging kubona iyo ukunda atarimo gushona. Anyways, I got my attention kuri wowe gusa. Inzozi ndota ni wowe gusa. I really wanna make you my ride or die. Yes, I want you, baby. I wish you know, cause santima zanje ari overdose. I wish you know, kwiyubabaye nanjye bingeraho. Naguma mbihisha z'amatsiko yawe yashize, kubona ibyanjye byose bivuze. Ufite ugusa nuko wangize. Would you take my hand? Otherwise let me utabibona. Nzigira inzozi nziza c'est comment, nyereka uko mbikora. Show me those to your heart, baby, ntuzicuza. Ndagukunda cyaze nukuri njye nshaka kwibanira nawe gusa. Anyways, reka my attention kuri wowe gusa. Inzozi ndota ni wowe gusa. I really wanna make you my right now. Yes, I want you, baby. I wish you know, cause santima zanjye ari overdose. I wish you know, kwiyubabaye nanjye bingeraho. There's no way naguma mbihisha. Zamatsiko yawe yashize, kubona ibyanjye byose mbivuze. Ufite ukusanduka wangize, would you take my hand? Otherwise baby niyo utabibona, nzigira inzozi nziza uzandota. If I need you more, I need you more. Nzigira kanageza uzandaza.
𝐈𝐤𝐤𝐢𝐠𝐚
If I need you more, I need you more. Nzigira kanageza uzandaza.
𝐈𝐤𝐤𝐢𝐠𝐚 on the mix.
Amasaha akuze banani mutahe, abahungu mwenyegeze umuriro wake. Yenze nyabusa ntituri butahe, amakosa birimo mbivuga. Yiyongeze mu gikorwa umva uko nabaye. Rukubita nibakwegeye wenda nategura nikunda ndakuvura kandi nivuye inyuma. Kunda vyuye inyuma sana baranzi mwana wa mama. Na bamwe bikuzanda bamanura sana. Yabategura nk'abatoresha sana, bamfata nk'umusaza kuko mbahana nk'anabahoza kuri style zanjye. Dore ndabafite tagati, iyo marabana sinkoresha agatoki. Ndabafite tagati, iyo marabana sinkoresha agatoki. Ewe ndabafite tagati, iyo marabana sinkoresha agatoki. Ndabafite tagati, iyo marabana sinkoresha agatoki. Iwanyimenya mihiye kandi mfite inzara. Uranze mani ibindi byaba biza nyuma. Byaba biza nyuma. Ndakuvura kandi nivuye inyuma. Ndavuye inyuma sana baranzi mwana wa mama. Ndakuvura kandi nivuye inyuma. Ndavuye inyuma sana baranzi mwana wa mama.
For me, at a personal level, it's been a very tough, but enjoyable journey. Based on the fact that this is the best thing one can do, to be part of the many years of struggle to put things right for our country, for our people, for ourselves. Based on the fact that this is the what has been happening in those best thing one can do, to be part of one may decide to see the many years of struggle to put things right. Almost something country goes over 100 years altogether, but in other cases, depending on what has been happening in those 31 years, it's actually 31, and 31 isn't. One may decide to see it very differently. You may see it as considering something that the world will live 100 years. I think some people live in worse situations than other cases. You can be realistic. I've been there for even longer than it's actually 31 years. 31 isn't been there very long. Anyway, I'm concerned with more considering the world we live in, because that's why I think some people make a contribution. Live in the worst of the world situations than maybe ours. Those matters are beyond or have been there for even longer than. So, those years. On that note, you're welcome there. You can offload anything you want on me. More, I take it, and you can have, because that's why I can make a contribution.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We
the
will
rest of
try
the
to
world,
make this afternoon a bit more
those
enjoyable for you.
matters are beyond our
Let's proceed to the
control
dialogue
some of us.
segment. I will invite each
So,
media
on that
representative
note, you're
in turn.
welcome to
Kindly state
you
your
can
name and media
offload
house that you
anything you
represent
want on me.
before asking your question.
I'll take it.
We can have some
And
microphones.
you can have a good conversation.
Anyone? Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Your just raise Excellency. your We will hand and try I'll bring a to microphone make to this you. Thank afternoon you. a bit more enjoyable for you.
Happy Liberation Day, Your Excellency.
Let's proceed
Thank
to the
you
dialogue
for giving us the
segment.
opportunity to
I will
offload.
invite each media.
Yes, there was a peace
representative
deal that was
in
signed with the
turn.
US not
State
long
your
ago,
name and media
Your
house that you
Excellency,
represent
and we are talking
before
about
asking
a
your
potential
question.
Washington Accord
We
that is
can have some
upcoming.
microphones.
But I'll take you back to when the peace deal was
Anyone?
signed between Rwanda and DRC.
Just
Immediately
raise
after
your
that
hand and they'll bring
peace
a
deal was
microphone to you.
signed,
Thank you.
President Trump of the US said that he had secured
Happy
a
Liberation
peace
Day,
deal
Your
Excellency.
for the US.
Thank you for giving us the
Shortly
opportunity to
afterwards,
offload. The former DRC president. There was a peace deal that was signed
on
with
social
the US
media
not long ago. The peace deal, and we're talking about a potential signed as a Washington Accord that is upcoming. Some people think that the Trump administration does not understand the situation between Rwanda and DRC very well. Immediately after that, what is your comment about that? President Trump of the US said that to those who called Trump's approach for the US exploitative in comparison to the former DRC president Joseph Kabila. That's the question, Your Excellency. My name is Jackie 𝐈𝐤𝐢𝐠𝐚𝐧𝐢𝐫𝐾. I host the Real Talk dismissed the real aspect and referred to what was signed as a trade agreement. Some people think that the Trump administration does not understand the situation
I would
in
start
Eastern
by
DRC very well. What is your comment about that, and what do you say to those who call Trump's approach exploitative in comparison to the Biden administration? That's the question, Your Excellency. My name is Jackie 𝐈𝐤𝐢𝐠𝐚. I host the Real Talk on RTV.
Whatever name you may want to give it. Well, what did other I would start by asking simple questions. Whether in the United States or Europe or anywhere else, the deal brokered by United States, did they offer Trump administration? What is it? I mean, whatever name you may want to give. We could be talking about something. Let's talk about it. Before we come to what Trump administration and the deal broker did other administrations, journalists, you follow whether in the United States events and the news and so on, or Europe, or put things in their perspective, in history and so on and so forth. Did they make a reference? What even if you don't make it to me now, but in your mind, could be talking about something. Let's talk about it. Try to remember. Before we come to Trump and what other deals they brokered that had been. You're a journalist, you by anybody, different events and that were even suitable to put things in their perspective, history and so on and so forth, that may make a reference. Failed because of, but even if you don't make it to me now, you may put in your mind anybody you wish to. Try to remember. Where is that? What other deals, therefore, that had been, if there isn't, by anybody, maybe you can make it suitable to more details problem. Yes, Trump administration that maybe can fail because of this or that. And first of all, I thank the blame on anybody who wish to pay attention to the problem at all. So my question is, where is that? Have ignored therefore that problem like if there isn't. And just maybe you can even go into more details later. East in Ukraine, Russia, Trump administration, Iran. Those are, first of all, I thank them. People's minds more important attention to the problem at all. Having to deal with, he could have ignored this African that problem like many have. Yeah, it shouldn't matter to anybody, just focus as we have seen it in the past. What is happening in the Middle East. But they took time. Ukraine, Russia. I'll try to summarize Iran, my reading of those that deal is, and how in people's minds is more important. Once they decided they are going to deal with the matter, to deal with they are really this African three pillars matter to anybody. It is built on, as we have seen it in the past. One is, but they took time. Economic. Now, if you will try to summarize, the other is my security, that deal is, and how the other is political. Once they decided they are going to deal with the matter, and I think these three are so closely related, three, that you can't just deal with one ignoring the other. It is built on, because the three are part of the problem. In fact, the main parts of the problem. Economic, if you will. Now, the other is security. People tend to concentrate more on economics for a reason. I think some of the players in the region are concerned with the problem, because the three are part of they had in their mind, in fact, the main part, to leverage these resources, because they think now resources are very attractive. So therefore they would like throwing a bait, concentrate more on economic and saying, I'll give you this, I'll give you so you'll control this, which everybody is for a reason. In the world needs, I think, some, so I'll give it to you. But those the players in the region, those who threw the bait to those who would help in the problem, we're really not looking for a durable solution to their problems or to the problems that affect us in the region. They just wanted to have an advantage concerned with the problem over adversaries, and give a sweetener to to leverage people to say, we'll give you this, please help us deal with resources that are very and so therefore they would 23 or throwing a bait it is perceived or saying, I'll give you this, I'll give you so you'll control this, which everybody is then the world needs attracted to that. So I'll give it to you. Take it. And but those who address the problem to the way the government of Congo saw it, those who would help in the problem. No, but the Trump administration kept looking at a combination solution to their problems, to the problems that affect us in the political, the security. They just wanted, and they have an advantage over some adversary minds. It was just economic. And give a sweetener to, please take it, but people to say, we'll give you this, and save us from these troublemakers, and even if it doesn't address the problem, or Rwanda, how they is perceived, or our enemies. So I'm sure that is what is still affecting, and maybe will affect. Then people will just the implementation of that. Take it, because, and what people had in mind is the problem, not necessarily 100% what the government of Congo saw it. But in addressing any problem like this, but the Trump administration, give and take, kept looking at a combination of these. Get 100% what you want as the thing to be addressed. Because there are many parties concerned with the problem, political, the security, each one may be gets a piece of what they wanted, another gets a piece of what they wanted, people's minds together, stability comes out. You want money, you want minerals, you want please take it. But so for me, and save us from these troublemakers, I think there is a chance to address the problem, depending on how they see it. So I'm sure that is what is still affecting, and maybe will affect. And why I asked the previous question, the other question about the previous handling, what people had in mind is not necessarily 100% what it was like actually. But in addressing any problem like this, there was less caring for its how to deal with this matter than you don't have now. Get 100% what you want. Because for them, they will just because there are many parties concerned with the problem. Sanctions, each one maybe it's a piece of what they wanted, and that's it. A piece of what they wanted. How together do you handle things like this? Stability comes out of it. So for me, I don't think they have even learned from history. I think there is a chance. In fact, it is the same people also who failed in those years that, and because we talk to many of them, get somewhere. Say, yeah, but what do you think about this Trump thing? And why I asked the previous question, the other question about the previous, and it's like handling. They don't even. Different administrations handled this hide the fact that they are disappointed. It was like actually because they are not at the center of it. It's like what do we have? Less for us, what do we have in it? I tell them how to deal with my business. You were here all these years now. Doing enough for them, they will just accept doing the wrong thing. Sanctions, because I asked some of them, when you went all out, but how do you handle things like this and expect we're sanctioning Rwanda, sanctioning M23, I don't think they have the other side learned from and then history. Vague about FDLR. In fact, it is the same people also who failed in those years. You know, what did you really think you talked to many of them doing? It's like, yeah, but what do you think about this Trump thing? You know, yeah, you know. So why would you be asking me anything? They don't even, you should have asked me that time. Hide the fact you did, I explained to you, you didn't listen to me. Because they are not at the center of things the way it's like, what do we have? For us, what do we have in it? And I tell them, but that's none of my business. Fact, I also don't stop. You were here all these years, doing nothing, actually they are part of except the problem. Doing the wrong thing. The main part of the problem, because I asked some of them, this Congo situation went all out and is external in actual fact. Were sanctioning Rwanda, sanctioning. Look at praising the other side, and you vague about FDLR and in Congo. How many years has it been there now? You know, what did you really think you were? So, and I keep asking people doing that would address the problem. You sat long ago and decided to create why this would you be asking me anything you did? You should have asked me that time. But you did, I explained to you, you didn't listen to me. It's been there. You decided to do things the way you wanted because you thought what you achieved, what you are doing there. But you keep running with the machine. And in fact, I also don't stop reminding them. Second, that actually coupled with that, if you look at the main you have heard of something called this Congo situation, group of experts is external in actual fact, who tell the stories of what's happening on the ground, who are supposed to guide some of the actions and presence in Congo. How many years has it been? The expertise they provide. So and I keep asking people, you do not have anything to do with the situation itself. And they decided to create this mission. These reports were written long ago. Long ago. It's when they were being given the mission. So they just come to make sure you never take stock that of everything what you achieved conforms to that as of origin. But you keep running with the machine. Keeps going. Because that's why you always find, second, it's all others guilty if you look at the situation of different things, you have heard of something called the actual perpetrators group of experts. You will never find the right stories of what's happening on the ground who are supposed to guide comprehensively about FDLR. Some of the actions you never find they write anything comprehensively about the expertise they main institutions are connected with the FDLR in spreading. Actually, do not have anything to do with the ideology itself, genocide ideology. These reports things were that are written long ago in broad daylight, long ago to see. When so they were being given how experts cannot see that. So they just come to make sure that every the reports, 75% to that as of origin. It's blame on, because that's why you always find 23, it's under one. All others guilty, and they always tight because there's different things, except the actual Rwanda-backed M23. You will never find in the research anything comprehensive, if you ever saw anywhere, comprehensively about FDLR. DRC-backed FDLR. You'll never find they write anything comprehensively. You'll never. About, so the narrative, how government is already institutions are connected with FDLR in make sure things spreading hate, adjusted to suit ideology, genocide ideology, what they want. Things that are then they talk about in broad daylight for everybody to see. So you wonder how experts cannot see that. Minerals as the center of the whole problem. All the reports, by the way, they should also blame themselves. Because if you highlight minerals and minerals, and then later on you blame somebody for also saying yes, and we have given minerals, but they say, around that we want to solve a problem, because they are the ones who highlighted the minerals in the first place. So how do they blame the Trump administration in your research for saying we got a big deal anywhere on minerals? DRC, yeah, but you made the minerals the issue. You, the people who are blaming everybody, including blaming the narrative Trump administration is already written. But the way they use that to make sure things are it was like to suit Rwanda is just in Congo doing whatever, they talk about M23, or even the existence of M23 is about minerals, according to them, as the center of, so they keep the whole problem. Playing this narrative, because if you highlight minerals and minerals, and then later on you blame somebody of the solution for also to saying yes, we have given minerals, but around that it becomes because they are the ones who highlighted the minerals in the first place, like having us. So how do they blame Trump administration being the judge who got a big deal and the prosecutor on minerals of people? Yeah, but you made the minerals the issue. You, the people who are down in the house, blaming everybody, including blaming the very ones who burnt down the house. Are the ones the way they use that to judge, to prosecute, like, and then Rwanda is just one Congo doing whatever, supporting M23, or even the existence of M23 is about minerals, and take it according to the surface. It's about blaming. So they keep M23, Rwanda, playing, even overplaying president's narrative. In the end, it works to the detriment. DRC solution you mentioned to the problem. By the way, now it really becomes that maybe I don't know why you should not like having assholes conveniently. Being the judge, you know how the current president came to be president of people. He was just burning down the office, and this man thought he was making the very ones who burnt down the house handed him power are the ones in the seat to judge, that actually they were to prosecute and everything, heads of state. This is what happened. Do you know that? So, some people, one of them being the former president of Kenya, but and
Uhuru
take
Kenyatta,
it just to the surface.
the other one
It's
being
about blaming
the
the president of
Rwanda,
Egypt,
former
Sisi.
president of, the other one being President Ramaphosa of South Africa.
DRC,
You
mentioned,
to go and visit them
by the
and
way,
ask them this question.
do you know that maybe, I don't know why you
This
should,
whole
you
thing,
should
you
never
see,
forget things
No,
conveniently.
I wish they could actually step
You know how the current president
come
came to the
forward
president?
and say, hey, wait a minute. By the way, we
He
know
was
this
just
story. Called to the office. And
The
this
story,
man,
I thought he was
the other
making a
thing
good
is,
deal,
you
and
also
they
know
handed
that
him power.
Rwanda being blamed for.
You also know
That actually there were witnesses.
M23, FCM23, Eastern Congo, blah, 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 and so on and so forth.
Did you know that?
Fine.
One
Can
of
blame
them
us
being the
for
former president
doing
of Kenya,
whatever we could
Uhuru
to make
Kenyatta.
sure
The other one being
FDR doesn't cause Rwanda problems.
the president
And
of
whoever was
Egypt,
supporting that. Sisi, but you
the other
cannot
one
even-
being
you cannot
President
blame us
Ramaphosa of South Africa.
for
You ask
the start of this
to
conflict.
go and visit them and ask them this
Because
question.
everybody knows where this
So,
conflict
This
started
whole
from
thing, you see,
and by who.
no,
and
I
it
wish
is
they
nothing
could
to do
actually
with one.
step, come
This
forward and
M23,
and
I
say,
have
hey,
said
wait a
it
minute,
before,
by the way, we know this
came
story.
from Uganda. They did not come from here.
The story, and the other thing
Why
is,
was it not made
you
Uganda's
also know
problem?
that
Rwanda being blamed for. Are these things I'm talking about new to you? M23,
don't know that?
FCM23, Eastern Congo, blah, 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 and so on
but
and
the
so
story
forth.
goes out today, it's every day,
Fine. You can
Rwanda,
blame us
Rwanda,
for
M23,
doing
Rwanda.
Whatever we
But
could.
You should also
make
tell
sure
people how this became Rwanda's problem.
FDR
Our
doesn't
problem
cause Rwanda problems.
simple.
And whoever was supporting that.
Twofold. FDR,
But you cannot even, you cannot
has been a
blame us.
problem in the past.
It's a
For
problem now. It will be a problem
the
in the
start of
future
this
if
conflict.
it continues to exist, threatening Rwanda.
Because
there is
everybody
no way
knows we don't,
where
as
this
again
conflict
said before,
started
we don't
from
need anybody's permission
and by who,
to protect our
and
country.
it is nothing to do with
It
Rwanda.
doesn't matter.
So this M23, that one put aside. I have said
The
it
other one
before,
is
came from Uganda.
this
It did not
Congo
come from
uprooting its own people. Why was it not made Uganda's problem? From their ancestral homes and from wherever.
Are these things I'm
Rwanda
talking
has
about
nothing
new to
do
you?
with
How
You don't
Kinyarwanda
know that?
speaking people went to Congo? Nothing.
But the story goes out
cannot
today,
be
it's
blamed
every day, Rwanda, M23, Rwanda.
They've been
But
killing people in
You should also
Brodera.
tell people how this
They've been
became Rwanda's problem, moving them from their homes and making them refugees here. You know, how many thousands,
FDR
hundreds of thousands has been a problem
originating
in the
from
past.
there who are
It's a
refugees
problem now.
It will be a problem in the future if it continues
So-
to exist, threatening Rwanda. There is no way.
The fact that we are hosting
don't,
these
as
people,
again
the fact
said
that we are
before,
saying we don't need
we can't
anybody's
accept
permission,
FDR. Is it a
protect our
problem
country.
It doesn't matter.
that Rwanda should be blamed for.
So is it a
that
complicated
one
problem
aside.
that
The other one is groups of experts. This Congo
cannot see
uprooting its own people. So from their
I've given
ancestral
you
homes and from
a
wherever,
very wide explanation.
and
Rwanda has nothing to
very
do with how Kinyarwanda
question
speaking
you asked.
people went to Congo. Nothing.
we cannot be blamed for it.
Whatever solution that does not
But
address these
they've been killing people in broad daylight,
important
they've been
matters to be
moving them
addressed.
from their homes and making them refugees.
We'll
here.
just keep-
You know how many thousands, tens of thousands.
the problems
Hundreds of thousands
between
of people
Rwanda,
originating from
DRC,
there who are
the
refugees
whole
here.
region, and
Wherever else,
so
going forever.
but
The
matter
fact that we are
is
hosting
simple.
these people, the
If you
fact
don't
that we are
play
saying
games, if you
we
don't,
can't accept FDR, is it
allow
a problem? Genocide ideology that Rwanda should be blamed
take
for
over the region
Is it a complicated problem that groups of experts
can be addressed.
cannot see? So for me, I'm thankful to I've given you President's a very wide explanation. President Trump's very decision. Simple question you asked. And by the way, even if it doesn't work, I don't think the solution that does not be blamed. Address these, not the ones to blame. Important, because in the end, they're not the ones to implement what we have agreed. We'll just keep. They just brought people together concerned with the problem, and Rwanda, DRC, the whole region, introduced a new way of approaching this problem, going forever, which the matter is simple. If you don't play games, if you don't coming from others, allow genocide, it's our job, it's our task, take over the region to implement that, or DRC or Rwanda. Things can be addressed. Implement, they are part of the bargain. For me, I'm thankful to, but of course it helps if United States President Trump's decision close by to follow up and say. And by the way, even if it doesn't work, said, I don't think this is what has to be blamed. They have some leverage. They are not the ones to blame over the matter, because in the end, they are not the ones to implement. I think I have what we have agreed. I did it. They just so broadly to preempt together concerned with the problem. Other questions related coming. They've introduced a new way of approaching this problem, which has.
Thank you, Mr. President, for having us. Thank you, sir. I have a question with two parts. The first part is the deal between Rwanda and DRC about joint security measures and removing FDLR. What is the promises have you received to achieve this? And then the second part is what steps will Rwanda take if the FDLR is not removing?
You do this, what happened? Let me add something. I come to your question, which does not stand in isolation. By the way, the deal one was mainly reached in Rwanda, Washington, D.C. and DRC. Equally important, does not stand in isolation. There's another deal ongoing. That one that concerns internal groups, Rwanda and Congo. DRC. FC, equally important, government, and there's another deal ongoing that concerns the internal groups of Congo. Discussed FC and brokered and the government and maybe in and by Qatar, the state of Qatar. That is being, you remember the story when we discussed, I met with the president in Qatar, in and by Qatar, the state of Qatar. It originates from remember the story when we, so these are two sides of president in the same Qatar, in Doha. So internal matters, so that and the reason was so to avoid the confusion the sides have been created over years, and the same coin was addressing. So internal matters, so that Congo was always the reason was to avoid the confusion that had made this problem over years, a problem between Rwanda and DRC. Congo was always. But there is a bigger component trying to, that is DRC, make this problem only anything a problem between, so that's why, DRC. In fact, that but there is a bigger component effort that is DRC. We look at it broadly between 𝐶M23, so that's why DRC. We look at it because that is the political side now. Three things: political, economic, and security. DRC, so the political is actually mainly internal, so that maybe by extension. Washington, D.C. And we have also seen in our history of this matter to implement it. It's those that reach the agreement really don't to actually be the ones to implement it. Necessarily do things and we have according also to what they agreed in our history of this as a lesson we have learned over many years. That people really don't necessarily, so if do things according to what they agreed, they dealt with, that's the lesson we have learned. And we have set out the way to deal with it in the agreement. Then that means, so if the FDR continues to be there, dealt with, and the problem continues to be there, and we have set out Rwanda will always deal with what it has to do when FDR, then that means the FDR continues to be there, and the problem continues to be there. I mean, there is no magic Rwanda will always do what it has to do, used by anyone. When FDR is, you have just to do what is right to do to deal with the matter. So for us, we have no magic wand here. And we have laid our case. And out of you have just to do what is right. We have agreed to do a number of things to deal with and do it. So for us, we have this obligation with others, and we will do that. We have laid our case. We never find Rwanda out of that at fault. We have agreed to do a number of things to what we have agreed to do and do it together with others. But if we decide we are working with plays never find Rwanda takes us back to the problem at fault, then we deal with the problem like you have been what we have agreed to do. You'll never. There are no two ways about it. But if we decide we are working with plays tricks and takes us back to the problem, then we deal with the problem like you have been dealing with it and to eliminate the problem. There are no two ways about it. But we
thank you. Since Maurice has a microphone, we're next
to implementing
murakoze nyakubahwa perezida wa
what we
repubulika
agreed to do.
nitwa ufite Marie Maurice ndi umunyamakuru wa RBA mu kiganiro n'abanyamakuru.
Thank you. Since Maurice has a microphone,
naragize muti iki kibazo cyakabaye cyarakemutse kera iyo abantu bakirebera mu mizi yacyo batagiye gucengacenga. Mu kiganiro n'abanyamakuru ni ku ruhe rwego mubona aya masezerano ya Washington areba ikibazo agihereye mu mizi cyakabaye cyarakemutse kera icyizere kingana gute iyo abantu bakirebera mu mizi yacyo batagiye gucengacengana.
Yabona bisobanuye no bwana bivuze mu Cyongereza
aya masezerano ya Washington areba ikibazo agihereye mu mizi.
Amasezerano yarahari. Mu masezerano hari ibyo yashinzwe bemera gukora. Yabona bisobanuye no bwana bivuze mu Cyongereza cyangwa se gukorana hamwe mbere. Amasezerano yarahari. Amasezerano hari ibyo ntabwo rero iteka abantu bose bakoresha ukuri cyangwa bavugisha ukuri no mu byo bemeye cyangwa se gukorana hamwe. Ariko ntabwo rero iteka abantu ku ruhande rw'u Rwanda tuzakora ibyo twemeye mu byo bemeye ku mugaragaro, ariko bimwe bihera ariko ku by'abandi bakora nabo tunavuga ko ku ruhande rw'u Rwanda iyo badakoze ibyo twemeranyije uko bishoboka birumvikana ko bifite ingaruka, ariko bimwe natwe tugomba gukora kuko bihera kubikora kandi ku by'abandi bakora nabo ariko n'abandi buzuza uruhande rwabo. Iyo badakoze ibyo twemeranyije ubwo birumvikana ko bifite ingaruka ku byo natwe tugomba gukora, kandi ibi nibidakora twemeye kubikora tuzakomeza dushakisha ariko n'abandi buzuza uruhande rwabo. Igihe inzira itaraboneka yo rero gukemura ibibazo uko bikwiriye, kandi ibi nibidakora tuzakomeza gushakisha, tuzakomeza gukora ibishoboka byose kugira ngo igihe inzira itaraboneka yo kurinda igihugu gukemura ibibazo uko bikwiriye umutekano bitewe n'uko u Rwanda n'abandi ruzakomeza gukora ibishoboka byose kugira ngo rumvikanye birinde abanyarwanda birinde igihugu. Rero no guhara abantu bashakisha kubura umutekano bitewe n'uko abandi twebwe tureba imbere twumvikanye batuzuza ibyabo byangombwa. Rero no guhara abantu bashakisha uburyo tuzakora nibyo twebwe tureba imbere yacu.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is 𝐤𝐮𝐬𝐿𝐷𝐷𝐤𝐿𝐲. I work for the Pan-African Review. Since we are on the topic of Congo, in 2012, during Umushikirano, thank you, Mr. President. You gave a speech in which you criticized work for the Pan-African Review countries. Since we are on the topic of Congo, in Rwanda, in 2012, during Umushikirano, you gave a speech in which you criticized. You even mentioned that powerful countries were considered Western powers for the scapegoating Rwanda, imposing sanctions in an attempt to reshape our region to their life. So you used Rwandans to be self-reliant. You used the term which has deeper meaning, I think, 𝐈𝐤𝐢𝐠𝐚𝐧𝐢𝐫𝐾, and to ensure that they will never again be made to carry the blame for crimes. So you used Rwandans to be self-reliant. So my question is, more than a decade later, which has deeper meaning, how close has Rwanda come, and to ensure that they will never again be made to carry the blame for crimes committed by others?
Yeah, for Rwanda, you can
so my question is, more than a decade later, how close has Rwanda come to achieving the kind of self-reliance you envisioned?
Is what others have been doing. Yeah, for Rwanda, you can account for everything you ask me to account for. But I count 13 years ago was what others have been doing. Because Rwanda has constantly been changing. But those powerful countries 13 years ago, how they see us, or maybe see other Africans, Rwanda has constantly been changing. It's the same story, and it is what I've just been. But those powerful countries and how they see us, or don't care, see other Africans. Not only do they not care, they not change. They actually want to stop you caring for what I've just been talking about. That's the biggest. They still don't care. Not only Rwanda, they not care. The progress we have made want to stop you caring for yourself, of taking care of yourself. I mean, but for Rwanda, the progress we have made, Tori speaks especially. Do you know that taking care of ourselves? By the way, with Eastern Congo, this just story before the fall of. Do you know that in Bukavu and by the way, with Eastern Congo, what had been assembled before the fall of by government and those and Bukavu, their allies and other so on and so forth, assembled in what numbers had been assembled, men and women, by assembled in weaponry. They called their allies in terms of mobilizing even support. Assembled in numbers of people, men and women, assembled in weaponry, assembled in terms of mobilizing even support of other countries. What happened is, what happened, and you know it, you will not believe it. It was Rwanda saying it won't happen here again. What happened? That just doesn't come anyhow. And you saw it have made progress on many fronts. It was Rwanda saying it won't stand here again. For yourself, that just doesn't come anyhow. And we have made progress on many fronts to all the stand for yourself, things that are brought your way to destroy you and respond to. So I think that story may speak for itself for many years. If we hadn't things that been building your way to destroy you, the unity of purpose, that story may speak for itself for many years. The strength to, if we hadn't preserved ourselves in building this Rwanda, unity of purpose cannot live on the whims of others. The strength, no. It happened, and I've told you even on this last time, this Rwandan people cannot live on the whims of others. It happened once. It happened, and I've told you even on this last time, once last year's April, too many times. It happened for the second one, it will never somebody else will pay for it. Once they will be the ones to go. They will be the ones to too many, not Rwanda again. That for the second one, it from somebody else will pay for it. It's not bragging, it's not be the ones to go. It's an act of survival, not Rwanda again. We don't, that one, take it all our living. I've repeated it. It's not bragging, it's not never. It's an act of survival.
Your Excellency, may we take a short break and come back for the next segment of this conversation? One more? Okay, Anangwe?
No.
And then?
Never will it happen again.
Thank you, Mr. President.
May we take a short break and come back for the next
I'm the CEO
segment
and founder
of this conversation?
We do a lot of
One more? Okay, Anangwe?
and, training for media
And then?
to just change the narrative about media in Rwanda and the region. Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, by saying thank you. And now for the CEO and founder of the Ghana African Media Group, we do a lot of mentorship and I'd like to move us away a bit from just change the narrative about media in Rwanda it back to region. That 1 year ago by saying, thank you. Before the liberation struggle, there was your personal story just to give us a country. The convictions. I would like to move us away a bit like from the need to rise a conversation and bring it back to. And Mr. President, I want to invite you to download before the liberation struggle. Those your past moments. The conviction. Remember today, when you look back, you feel like I need to rise a one fight for my country. And Mr. President, I want to invite you to download the untold. Those moments that you remember today, and when you look back, you say, this was a worthwhile fight for my country.
At the beginning, when I was talking about
continue later.
This whole, that's a bit complicated. Years being, I'll try. At the beginning, when I was talking about, I meant this whole tough side was 1 year being what was confronted, a tough but terrible story, being of I meant such a magnitude. Side was that what was confronted for the half-hearted with, they would just collapse under the weight of such a magnitude that. But fortunately, for the half-hearted, many, they would just collapse. Many people, the weight of it, were up to the task. And who, but fortunately, ready and able, had many, leave it all. Because it meant people, everything to them, were up to the task. When something means everything to you, were ready and able, then you give all everything. Because it meant make sure everything to them. When something means everything to you, that was tough. Then you give every question and no need to make sure. There is no way of emphasizing good hands. The enjoyable part that I'm talking about, no question, that tough, no need to. There is no way of emphasizing it. Is the enjoyable part, understanding the story itself, where you are coming from and where you are going. And then finding yourself is in the middle of it. Understanding the story itself, where you are coming from and where you are going. To be looked up to, finding yourself to deal with such a, in the middle of it, a tough being one among many, it gives to be looked up to, a sense of to deal with such a pride, a tough inspiration. Then it gives a sense of something pride that is worth inspiration, being associated with. And when you are there, but also you approach it with the sense that something that is worth doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. Being associated with. And
when you are there, what comes out in the end, but also you approach it with a sense that must reflect that difference. It doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. What you really fought against, what comes out in the end, and what reflect creating that difference. They have to be different between you can't what you really fought against thing and end up with a bad thing yourself. And what you are creating, it would be such a waste of life. Even you can't fight against a bad thing and end up with a bad thing for yourself. Me, because it would be such a waste of life. Personal, even things I can't explain, other things I can't explain. So I cannot explain why in a situation like this, there are things I can't explain, things I can't explain. I cannot explain why, even if you explain the magnitude of it, and a situation like this, those many people I talked about who were ready to give all they had, and they did, how, even if you explain the magnitude of it, are no longer with us. Those many people I talked about who were ready to give all but their names and their stories live on. Many of them bravery lives with us, are no longer with us. But at the same time, I cannot explain why, but their names, their stories live on. One is no longer with us, bravery lives with us. And the others, but at the same time, I cannot explain why in that whole journey were exposed to the same one is no longer with us. I don't think, and the others who are still lucky like me to still be alive, yet all of us were exposed. I cannot account for why to the same danger. I don't think those who are still lucky like me to still be alive gone the way of the others who didn't make it. I cannot account for why. Therefore, it can't be. There is no one who can easily get gone the way of the others who didn't make it for still being alive. Therefore, it can't be. There is no one who can do with you. Get just happened, praised for not because you are smart being alive, because more brave or it has nothing to do with you. So that one I can't account for. It just happened. Not because you are smart. I cannot explain what I do more brave or when I'm there. No, just happened. So that one I can't account for. I'm no longer alive. I can only explain, we remember what them, I do, we honor them, we respect them, and in fact what they know they were sacrificed, what they were associated with, or they did when they are still. We remember them, it's the same thing even honor when they them, we respect them, yes, for what they know they were, what we know they were associated with, things or they did when they are still there. So for my personal